Hello, everyone. Once again, would like to welcome you to Downstream Exchange. My name is Charlie, and I'm here with my friend.
Hello. My name is Joe, all the way from Abuja, Nigeria.
Ha, ha, ha. Joe seems to be having a good time already. It's going to be really an interesting night. We hope tonight's conversation, um, just to cover one or two things that will stimulate, your interest. And let's, without talking much, I guess we jump right into it. Over to you, Joe. So, what's going on, Joe? What's going on tonight?
Well, I thought you'd tell us what's going on. I mean, you're out there in the United States. You guys had your inauguration today for a new president. He said quite some interesting stuff. Did you watch Trump's inauguration today? Did you get a chance
Uh,
to?
for the purpose of your question, I wish I would have watched it. I did not watch Trump's inauguration. No, I didn't.
Okay.
I've been a little, I step back a little from the day-to-day political, it's sometimes it's just like that. But I heard there's a lot of interesting stuff going on with his inaugural speech. He pointed out he did quite a lot of did say quite a lot of surprising or not so surprising things,
Well, I
depending on
mean,
what it
not so
is.
surprising. Is more spot. I mean, typical Trump. Sounded like a typical Trump campaign speech, and it was more interesting because you had uh, the immediate past president. Well, Biden is already immediate past. Biden was there, Obama was there, Bush, and the Clintons, Bill and Hillary. And yeah, I mean, he came out swinging, basically painted Biden's last 4 years as the worst that has befallen America, and how he's back to turn things around and all. Made some interesting pronouncements, like you'll find in any Trump rally. Talked about the Mexico border as well. I mean, came out against illegal immigrants. Uh, Talked about trying to end better citizenship for illegal immigrants, which is quite interesting because when you say illegal immigrants, I don't know if you meant if someone comes to the US on a legal visa and uh, gives birth to a child, he doesn't have a problem with that, but maybe he has a problem with someone crossing from the southern border without a visa and birthing a child who eventually becomes
I
American.
I I think the whole thing is more about anyone who's a non-citizen that comes here to have a kid. So if you're here, let's say you're a student, you're on a student visa, or let's say you're a diplomat, or whatever your situation is, and you're here, or you're illegal, you crossed the border illegally, or you came to visit legally, whatever your situation is. If you have a kid here, I think what he's saying is that kid should not be a citizen, like right off the bat.
What he
It
qualified it today. He said
okay,
illegal. So I mean if say uh, a female Nigerian banker who's on a visit
yeah,
visa travels to the
yeah,
US on her US visa,
yeah,
she's there legally.
yeah,
Now, if she
yeah.
gives birth while there legally, she doesn't qualify as a legal. So there are legal people in the people on legal with legal grounds to be in the US, either on a visit visa or
Yeah,
a
yeah.
student visa, or whatever. But the way he sounded, he meant, as of today, he meant illegal immigrants. So that's someone who has no right to be in the US. Now, the way I know the way it works is that irrespective of someone's status currently, once they give birth to a child in the US, that child automatically
Yes,
qualifies for citizenship. So I think that
yes, yeah.
ultimately, I believe he plans to make it impossible for anybody at all who's not an American citizen to benefit from that. But as of now, it sounded like he was targeting illegal migrants. But turns out he didn't. Uh, the executive orders he signed this evening, and he signed quite some interesting executive orders, pulled America out of the Paris Climate Change Agreement, uh, promised to released January 6 convicts, whom he referred to as hostages. Said some other interesting stuff, again, dialing back to his inaugural speech about henceforth only two genders will be recognized in the United States, male and female, which to honestly sounds commonsensical. Signed something about censorship, which is, again, many people can relate to that, about government censoring people's speeches, where you can say certain words, you can convey certain expressions. Talked about banning trans men in women's sports. That too, I believe, sounds commonsensical. So it was Trump being Trump, and yeah, I think the next 4 years will be interesting to see. So belt up.
Yeah, I mean, we've been through this before, right? We did this in 2016, and we had 4 years. We had 4 years of Trump. So, like everyone says, that was Trump 2.1. I mean, point one point Trump 1.0, excuse me, and this is Trump 2.0. So, uh, to me, I think it's going to be very much the same energy, same demeanor, same disposition. A lot of talking. The actual doing is going to be more in the form of executive orders. As far as legislation, as usual, it's just going to be a gridlock. Expect the opposition to um, try to block every piece of legislation put forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we're going to have a 4 years where there's going to be a lot of talk. I mean, retrospectively, I would like to take us back to Russia Gate. I remember Mueller, I think, Robert Mueller, special counsel or whatever
Yes,
his
yeah,
portfolio
gosh, I've
was.
not heard of
What
him in
was
a long
it? What
time.
I forgot what it was.
It
Yeah,
just fizzled.
former
It had to
FBI
do with
boss.
Russia. Yeah, that
Right,
was
right.
him.
Coming in to investigate to say Russia had a hand in the American election, and that's how Trump became president. And we spent a good part of 4 years running around that, putting that out there, making that a huge talking point, when in all reality it
Mm-hmm.
had nothing to do with nothing. So it's always something. That's with Biden, we had the whole what's his name, Hunter.
Yeah,
We
Hunter
had the whole
Biden. Yeah.
Hunter thing going on, all that other stuff. So there's always something the opposition will throw out there to make it interesting. So I think it's going to be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, and something else before we jump into our topic of today proper. Yeah, I think Biden himself signed a slew of uh, presidential pardons today, preemptive. If you know, Trump has been threatening to get back at those who he claimed witch hunted him politically. I mean, he felt his trials were political witch hunt. So he being Trump and some of his appointees, Bill to come on board, have not made it a secret that he will go after uh, like those who came for them. So I think with that in mind, Biden did sign for General Mike Milley, former chairman of the Joint Chiefs, signed for Anthony Fauci, the famous Fauci during the
Yeah.
COVID era, and a couple of
Yeah.
other people, including a very quote unquote controversial last minute pardon for Biden's family members, because there too, I mean, the context being Trump's blog had threatened to hit back at Biden's family as well. And Trump being who he is, I understand that Biden wasn't going to take those threats lightly. So he did issue those pardons. It has attracted, I mean, they've attracted some criticism for Biden, like it's a misuse of presidential powers. But honestly, I wouldn't blame him for that, because uh, nobody wants to take Trump's threat. Like, even though, yeah, sometimes he just talks and doesn't action what he says, but you never know. Better safe than sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I that's another interesting angle for me to kind of break down, because the way the American law protects the president. It's even crazy. If presidents are totally immune, so when you're in office, basically you do whatever you want and you're immune. And I'd like to point out that that's very ironical because America is the pillar of democracy, land of the free, justice, land of the brave, and America is always holding um, other leaders accountable. You know, they're strong on democracy. I remember holding people like Saddam Hussein accountable. Iran, Gaddafi, talking about you guys are despots, you guys are this and that. And
Mhm.
in the same breath, here we have two American presidents just doing exactly what they're accusing the other guys of doing,
Yeah.
which is basically I
Yeah.
do what I want and the law covers me. American law allows me to be. You could call me whatever you want. You could be a felon. You could start wars anywhere, do whatever. It's still okay. However, if you're someone else and they say it's not okay, then it's not okay. So for me, I just find it interesting because that's just how it works. These guys are here with a stroke of the pen. They overwrite the law and they do whatever they want. So that's the power of the American presidency. That's the power of the White House. It's
Might is
I guess
right.
they're right. Might is right. Very well said,
Yeah,
Mr.
might is
Joe.
right.
Might is right.
Clearly.
That's
Yeah.
that's 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 what it is in this case. Yeah. You know.
Okay. Yeah, quite interesting. We'll wait to see what Trump 2.0 unfolds to be and all. Yeah, we can preempt him, even though he's uh, Trump seems easy to predict, but you never can tell. I mean, he did acknowledge the fact that Americans are going through a hard time and grocery prices are high, blah blah blah. But we'll wait and see. But we're not talking about Trump today. I mean, Trump isn't our main discussion today, but no way we're going to start our exchange without harping on the fact that Trump got inaugurated. Today, it's something the whole world
But
tuned
before
into.
before you go, I just find some of the stuff he said interesting, like saying we're only going to have two genders. I think that's interesting. I would like to hear what those who think otherwise have to say. I'd like to also like to know if they are in the majority or if they are in the minority. It's very interesting because when he comes out and boldly says stuff that folks would otherwise be cancelled for. So I guess that's what makes him Trump. That's what makes him
I mean,
Trump.
speaking of cancel again, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, people. I think my sense of it is the majority of people in America and perhaps globally. I can't speak for Americans, so because you never can tell, would like that. But speaking of cancel, I think I like the bit you said about censorship because these days, even you and I, the way we use social media, there are certain words we simply, excuse me, can't write out there. I
Yeah.
mean, on your
Oh yeah,
social media
yeah.
platforms
Even right now,
because
as we talk, we have to be mindful of what we say, not to
well, I
attract
want to
wrong.
believe he has already signed an executive order that kicks into effect. So I would, I wouldn't be losing sleep
Yeah,
over that. But yeah, I won't believe. I mean, I saw tech CEOs there. Mark Zuckerberg was there. The Facebook CEO had already said, "Hey, we're going to work with Trump to end this whole." I mean, he said Meta was going to step back a little from the whole censorship thing uh,
yeah,
TikTok CEOs. So hopefully we should be able. I mean, we should be able to be ourselves on social media again. That's not to say to use it irresponsibly, but come on, you should be
right.
able to write English for what it is and not
Yeah.
fear
I,
getting
I, I,
struck
I
or
I think there
cancelled.
should be guidelines. There should be guidelines for censorship if there's going to be censorship, so it's uniform across the board. A situation where the president of America is not able to is banned from Twitter yet. Some radical person somewhere has a Twitter account. It's just crazy. I don't think it's not common sense. The president of
Yeah, it's
America
not.
should have a platform to say whatever he needs to say, or the president of any country at all. You know,
I agree.
so maybe this online platforms, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, what have you, TikTok, whatever, should all be governed by universal guidelines that have been legislated in. That's the main issue. When you have Facebook having their own policy on censorship, which is not uniform with what Twitter is doing, and then Instagram is doing something different. So we have a situation where I can be banned on Facebook, but I can run to Twitter and have an account there, or I can be banned on Twitter and then I'm on YouTube, and so it's a mess. It's a mess.
Yeah, it is a mess. Yeah, I mean, hopefully that will end soon. I think Twitter has been taken over by Elon Musk. So, and he positions himself or projects himself to be a promoter of free speech. So yeah, I think he has scaled down on
Yeah.
that level, that oversensitive level of
Yeah, but by the
censorship.
way, Fox X, formerly known as Twitter, excuse
Yeah,
me.
yeah, exactly. Same
Yeah,
as
yeah,
Meta that
yeah.
controls Facebook, WhatsApp, and I think Instagram. So yeah, I
Instagram, I
mean,
think it is something
yeah,
else. Yeah,
Instagram is part of the Meta
yeah,
blog. I know. So yeah, we'll see. Quite interesting. We'll be talking from time to time. We'll see how things pan. I'm sure the beat about banning citizenship by birth really got many Nigerians worked up. That's something Nigerians really look forward to in the US, and also they'll be observing closely to see if, with the stroke of the pen, that can be effected, or if there'll be firewalls by Parliament, since it's a constitutional right.
yeah,
Well, we'll see.
yeah,
We'll see in the coming
yeah,
days. Never say never. You
yeah.
never can tell
I I
with
guess
this
that
thing.
I guess the other things we'll talk about later, as we talk, that we may have to
Yeah.
piggyback on this very point.